Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 215, it is a welcome return of Lillian on the podcast. She is a speaker, a corporate trainer, podcast host, NLP coach, author, and yes, anime buff. It was great having her back on the show. We talked about many different things, how she has gone on this sort of zen-like journey, discovering her new leader, inner lover, and yeah, the alchemist within. We also talked about the zoo, which is Clubhouse, and we also talked about some of the stuff she's like trying to get out there, help young ladies out there to become their best selves. All in all, it was a great podcast. It was great speaking to her again, and I look forward to getting her on more on the podcast. It has to be done. 10 months is a hell of a travesty. It's a hell of a shame. But nevertheless, she will return. But let me just say thank you very much for listening to the podcast. Please subscribe and enjoy the show. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah. Peace. Ha ha. Oh, yeah. Go. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 215, we have a return of Lillian. Like, yes, this lady, she is a speaker, corporate trainer, podcast host, NLP coach, author, and yeah, like she is slightly addicted to anime, amongst other things. Yeah. Ha ha. Yeah. And hey, if you ever see her out and about doing an interview, yeah, she'll have her superhero costume on, but we won't talk about that. You have to go back to episode 38 to know what we're talking about. Yeah. How are you today?
I am doing good, Miwa. How have you been?
I have been good. I have been busy over the last period of time when we first met. Yeah, I have been going hard at doing podcast interviews and yeah, keeping myself set and trying to network people in, as you know.
And you do that so well because I've had some incredible guests feature on my show thanks to you. So I have to podcaster to podcaster say thank you for those incredible people.
I'm happy to help. Happy to help. Now, it's been we've worked out before we started this. It's been 10 months since we last spoke. And
Yep.
in that sort of crazy 10-month period where the world shut down, opened, shut down, and yes, variants here, there, and everywhere. What have you been up to?
Well, I've been kind of keeping myself busy, and this is, like you said, the world is gone in, out, in, out. Now we have a Decepticon as a variant. I don't know what we have right now. Uh,
That's why it's sneaky transforms whenever you it's a
we have a, Decepticon. At this point, but in that time I have spent time. I actually took the time to do my work on me. When you sometimes have to go back and go, yeah, it's time to work on me, it's time to go back and feed me. So I've spent time feeding my own soul, taking care of me, making sure that the work that I ask clients to do, that I am willing to do it myself. And that's always fun, especially when you get to one of those exercises and you're like, yeah, nah, I understand why clients don't like this exercise because it's not that much fun. But the rewards are so great because it makes you stop to encounter yourself. I've I've been spending that time reassessing what it is I want to put it into the world and how I want to put it into the world. So in saying that, one of the things that I've been doing is working on um, what I've always worked on and kind of put to the side because I was doing a lot of corporate training. And so I wasn't talking a lot about that.
Mhm.
And which is where I talk about the different aspects of the feminine. So where I talk about the archetypes, the feminine archetypes. And I said, okay, this is not going anywhere. it keeps coming up in my circle. So let's talk about it. So I spent most of the last 10 months going to workshops, delivering on how to use these feminine archetypes in leadership, how to use these feminine archetypes in your day-to-day life. What does it mean to to use your inner queen? How do you integrate your inner girl? What is the alchemist that lives within? And how can we tap into these things? Then it's also understanding what role does a lover play in our lives? And especially for women of color, where we've been taught to be afraid of our lover identity, is where does that fit? How do I show up? What does that look like? Then is also understanding all of those. And then in that led me down the road of going to discover
Mm-hmm.
and well, yeah, discover is the right word because I didn't know they existed. So I went on that journey is the Igbo mythology. Now, you being Yoruba, you know about the Yoruba orishas, and everybody knows about the Yoruba orishas, especially from the Nigerian continent, Nigerian culture. When people talk about mythology, they will talk about the orishas because it's been transported to places like Brazil and other Latin American speaking countries that have had the exports through slavery.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that the Igbos had a full, rich mythology as well. And so I started researching not just on the mythology, but also on where my people are from and learning its history, its origin, and that being very important. And so for me, the last 10 months is about really owning my story and making sure that when I tell people the importance of owning their story, that I've done it and embodied it for myself. I've faced what my story looks like, the good, the bad, the indifferent in my own self, but also starting to learn about the mythologies to help tell those stories.
Mm. My, that is a healthy dose of self-reflection right there. Because, like, this is the thing. Look, anytime, yeah, anyone sits down to do that sort of realm of self, like discovery, that self-reflection, there are, how can I say, there are many things which come up which look beautiful, great, and glorious, but the things which are often there, which we often turn away from or ignore, the sort of like more sort of darker, more ugly sort of things, which we're not like, no one's perfect and are not like glorious and brilliant all the time.
Mm.
I'm just like, with regards to like, yeah, delving into leadership, what do you think, like, has that sort of fundamentally changed you about how you're going to sort of like take on leadership in the future? Or have you like looked at it and went, I've been a bad leader or I've been a good leader in certain things?
Well, actually, it's understanding that what we call the good, the bad, and the indifferent is,
Mm,
let's first of all, what we call the bad is where we grow from, because without it, we don't have that multidimensionality. Without that, going through the phases, and if we reject those side of us, we're looking at only one side of us. You cannot be a good leader without experiencing a bad leadership,
mhm.
without delivering bad leadership, without being a bad leader to yourself, leading yourself astray. You can't then lead somebody else.
Mm. Yeah, no, I think this is the thing. I think there are people who don't kind of know or have self done that sort of self-examination often think, yeah, everyone's perfect from the get-go. Like if you do something wrong as a leader, that is the worst crime in the world. When it comes down to it, it's a kind of, it's your opportunity to learn, as you say, to grow. Because look, you can have 1,001 victories on a daily basis and you'll learn nothing because
Yeah.
hey, everything's perfectly fine. What do I need to change? But you will learn 1,001 things from one loss. And yeah, hopefully get stronger and better from that.
Exactly. And most people that we look at in the world that we think, oh my God, they're so amazing, they're so fantastic. They all sucked in the beginning. They all sucked in the beginning. And so if we then downplay our suck story and go, oh my God, all of this is my sucky story, so I'm going to put it into a briefcase and never touch it.
Mm.
then we have nothing to say to others who are struggling. Hey, you can do this. They're like, no, you're perfect. Like, no. And so our failures, our weak moments, those moments where we have been the absolute worst. Sometimes you see all these messages on social media. I love that, where he's like, oh yes, don't let the negative people get in the way. Don't let those people be. Sometimes you have to go, you know what? I've been me. I'm the negative one. You
What?
got to hold your hand up and say, and really be able to face that side of you. Because if you can't face that side of you, how are you going to champion the best side of you if you're rejecting parts of you?
Mm. Yeah, no, this is the thing. I think when you don't actually like sort of face like certain parts of yourself, which can be negative or which can be positive, or basically if you're not actually facing yourself, like sort of like going, okay, do a sort of checks and balance on who you are. Not you don't have to do it every day, but like sort of every sort of 6 months, a year, or like maybe
Like an MOT, like an
yeah,
MOT.
precisely, like an MOT. Yeah, very good, very good. I like this. We're bouncing back and forth. Yeah, like I think that's where we often miss many a thing, and this is where we either like there is a part of us which might be it's not broken yet, but along the way, over the course of time, it gets weaker and weaker and weaker, and then when you don't want it to, that's when it like that pressure comes on that part and it fails. And it's like, okay, why did it fail? You don't know because you haven't had your MOT. You haven't had that sort of comprehensive check. And you're just like going, why is everything gone wrong? And can lead you out into a spiral, which is never a good thing, you know?
No, no, it's not. And I think we should stop looking to label, because it's so, oh yeah, this is negative, this is positive. It's polarities. It's one side of the same coin. You cannot be great without failures. You cannot be good without a level of not so good. It's
Mm,
not one is better than the other. You have to decide, does this part of me serve? Does it serve me? Does it serve those closest to me? Does it serve my community? If it's not serving, then you pull that part back and go, okay, so for instance, people go, anger is problematic. Anger can be bad, but there's anger on its own is neither good or bad, because anger can spur a person on to say, you know what, I've had enough. I am not going to the back of the bus. I don't care what you're going to do, but I'm not going to the back of the bus. And that could lead to cataclysmic change in the world that we know it.
mm,
Or you could be the same person who is angry and go, I'm going to punch somebody in the face.
mm. Yeah, I like with regards to the circumstance of where that anger could like be like used, like how it can be used effectively. Each emotion is a tool. It's
Yeah.
just a case of most of the times we don't know how to utilize that tool correctly. Now, this is the thing. One of the things I would say I've learned over the course of talking to like all you guys out there is that yeah, the people who tend to do the best are the ones who are like, it's not a case of seeking just greatness or seeking like yeah prosperity, but when those people have got that sort of worked on and managed to get sort of a balance in their life, that's when I find in through their conversation and like basically through their lives and stuff like this, they tend to thrive. I don't know if you found that when you've been podcasting as well, you know.
Yeah, a lot of my guests have come from a place of, this happened to me. This is what I did. Oh, this is the point of my life where I made a turkey out of it. And this is the steps I took to go forward. And people go, yeah, sometimes you just have to get back on the horse. Sometimes you're hurt
Mm,
and you need to be bandaged up. You need to take the time to heal, to recover, and then go back at it. Because if you just get back on the horse and you're not healed, you're more likely to break again. And
mm,
so this is where we practice the self-care. This is where we understand self-love. This is where we understand self-nurturing, and all of those things to actually grow you as a leader. You need to do that work. I've got to nurture myself back to where I can stand in the room and feel comfortable and feel confident. I have to acknowledge my pain before I walk into a room of people and spew my pain over others. I've got to acknowledge it, I've got to deal with it, and then I can show up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically the work.
Yeah. So like this is the thing. Like I'm glad you've been like working on yourself and like yeah, developing yourself along that side of leadership. But like yeah, you mentioned lover. Like what's that? Like yeah, like and what like because like this is the thing when you go working on myself being a lover, it's like okay, well you know what, bravo to you, Kel. At least someone's getting some. It's like what do you mean by that?
Okay, so when we're talking about, so I spoke about the inner girl, I spoke about the queen, I spoke about the mother, I
Mm,
spoke about the lover, the alchemist. So these are parts of ourselves that we all have. And so, especially when I'm talking about leadership and I use the word lover, people tend to look at me like this.
what what did you say? Huh?
What
Huh?
did you just say? So you want me to end up with a HR conversation? And I'm like, no,
Oh.
no. So the thing is, when we think about the lover, we have this misconception that it's bedroom talk,
Well,
that a lover belongs in the bedroom or intimate relationships. But the lover, the inner lover inside of us is more than that. It's that side that is passionate. Like you live from your inner lover every day whenever you get in front of your mic because that is your passion. You're spreading that passion. You invite others to spread their passion. Without passion, your podcast would not have gone into 200 episodes.
I thank you. You're most kind. Like, look. Oh, oh I'm lost for words. I'm lost for words. But like this is the thing. I think with regards to like yes, that inner lover, that love for like life itself, that love for
Yes.
people around you and stuff like this. I think if you don't have that, you can't actually express the realm of gratitude, which I think is like also like there are some things which I just call fundamental powers in the universe. Consistency is one, gratitude's the other. If you don't have gratitude for what you have in life, even if it's like something really small and insignificant to a third party outside, that doesn't matter. But to you, if you're grateful for, yeah, I'm grateful for this meal. I'm just grateful for this day. Because believe you me, there's someone out there who's not going to have the meal. There's someone who's not going to have that next day, that next moment. And like, look, yeah, I've been fortunate. I've been like, I have gratitude. Finding that gratitude for a daily basis is sometimes not easy. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think if you can't express gratitude, you are missing out on one of the fundamental truths of the universe.
Exactly. And the lover helps you not only have that passion, but
Mm.
communicates that passion to others. So the thing about the lover is the one that basically goes, look, we're excited about this. Let's talk to other people. And even if you're an introvert, extrovert, that centrovert, that doesn't matter. Once you are passionate, you will find a way to talk to people. And that passion leaks through. When I talk about the most unlikely lover character that I can think of right now, I
Mm.
talk about Elon Musk.
Why Elon Musk?
Because he took Tesla as a concept and
Mhm.
generated a worldwide raving fan base of people who Tesla, 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 I want a Tesla. He ignited passion deep within people for this thing that didn't exist. He
Mm.
built a community around something that didn't exist. And look at the payoff it's had for him.
No, like this is the thing. I would say with regards to Tesla, there's only been uh, in our sort of lifetime, there's only been one other person I would say can like generate that much but buzz, and he's passed away. And that was like Steve Jobs. Love him or hate him, but he managed to do that for Apple. And like, look, that leads to a number of Apple products. And yeah.
And that passion is part of your lover identity. It's
Mm,
about that, like you said, that passion for life, passion for what you do, that passion. People think, oh, when I'm talking passion and lover, it means I'm talking about my significant other or being
mm,
sexual. And I'm like, no, it's about being sensual and feeling life. It's about feeling alive in the body you're in, and especially in the last 2 years that we've been in, you will find more people are now like, I'm alive. Okay, this is good. We are awakened to that side of us. And yes, the lover also relates to our intimate relationships. It
Mm.
relates to our sexual activities, but that's only a third of what the lover archetype is. It is about passion, whether it's for life, for our partner, our business, our products, our friends, our community. We need that fuel, and that's what the lover drives in us.
Mm. You have got much more zen since we last spoke. Yeah, it's like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I can see you now just like sitting on the edge of this mountain. Like, yeah, just the Himalayas in the background. It's like,
Yeah, no, no.
ah.
I'm a nature girl, but not the Himalayas. Give me the beach, and there's nothing wrong with the Himalayas, but I'm a beach baby. Give me the beach
There
and warm. For all of you people that's like, oh, Brighton is a beach, go away, please. Please go away.
Oh, like, yeah, it's a beach of stone and cobble. It's like, yes.
Brighton, please forgive me, but yeah,
It's like, no, a beach is a place where it's at least hot and sunny,
and sand.
sandy. Yes.
Because I still remember my first visit to Brighton, and people were like, "Oh yeah, you must go to Brighton." After I moved back to the UK, and they're like, "You must go to Brighton. It's an amazing." And then I went with some friends, and I was like, "Guys, do you guys know somebody stole your sand?" Because
No, wait, when did you go to Brighton? Was it like a hot day or was it like when?
it was meant to be summer, but it wasn't raining. We'll say that much. As
Okay.
far as it being
It's like, you want me to get what and go where? It's like, are you
and then
crazy?
and I was like, "Why is there stones?" They're like, "Yes." I'm like, "No, no, no. We have distinctive miscommunication here. My definition of a beach, your definition of a beach, doesn't add up."
You just like, yeah, you know what, guys? You go to the beach. I'm going to this bar up here. I'll look at you from a distance in this nice warm bar. Just like, they're crazy. You're insane. It makes no sense. Yeah. No, because this is the thing. Brighton on a hot sunny day. Like I don't do it. I don't even bother trying because it's like, yeah, the whole of South London just clears out and comes down and descends like vultures, just taking up every square inch of that stony beach. Trust me. You know, you should see pictures of it. You're just like, okay. You're just like, can I lay down here? Like if it's gone past 12, it's over.
Wait, why do you want to lay down on stones? But we digress. We digress. Let's return to where we are. We digress. We took a detour.
Well, like, look, hey, look, you're the one who did, like, you're the one who did this. It was not me. I was like, I gave you the Himalayas, and you're like, no, Sandy Beach, not Brighton. I was like, okay, here we are. Let's continue. It's not me, people. It's her. It's her. She's shaking her head for all those people who are listening. But anyone on YouTube, yes, you can see she's shaking her head.
This has nothing. This is not my doing.
Okay.
That's
Yep.
mhm.
Sure. Please, like, as I was saying, yes, you found your moment. It like, yeah, definitely more zen lately. Because like this is the thing. Okay, when we talked, like, hey, like you were in that motivational mode and like, yeah, hitting the notes, ding, 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 ding. I was like, my God. Let me go out there. There's a small country I can invade right now. I was like, yeah, I was with you. And now you're like, hey, yeah, I've done some self-discovery. I found like, yeah, leadership, lover, and that, like, yeah, and the alchemist. So what with the alchemist, what sort of magic creations have you come up with in the last 10 months since we last spoke?
Oh, I like that. So in the last 10 months, I have, like I said, I've manifested some stuff. I manifested a new home for myself. And so
Mm.
I've actually moved since the last time we spoke.
Oh,
And for
congratulations.
those, thank you. And for those of us who don't know what I mean when I'm talking about the inner, and these are parts of ourselves. And so let me put this in context. This is using archetypes from Jungian psychology, and this is basically where he talks about the collective unconscious that lives within all of us. And when we start looking at archetypes, these are characters that exist in this world almost separate from us,
Hmm.
but we recognize them. We recognize them in ourselves. We recognize them in others. We recognize them on a consistent basis. They show up in our books. They show up in movies. They show up in, in TV shows. They show up in everyday characters that we encounter. So I'm only talking about 9 of them. There are more than 24 of them that when we start looking deeper into the archetypes, but I'm focusing on 9 out of them, which are 4 of them being the base elements for woman, and then we kind of add on. And so when I look at those 4, those are our principles that hold us up. So there's the inner child, the
Hmm.
mother, the goddess. Those are our creation. And then the next level up, and one of the next level up is then looking at the alchemist, which is that side of us that changes things, that goes, I know, I'm going to write a book. And in this book, I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to create a podcast. I'm going to create new ways to connect with other women. I'm going to go on and change how I deliver the work I do. That's your alchemist at play. Your alchemist is the side of you, and like you've everyone who's seen the Philosopher's Stone, and they will talk about alchemy. It's about being able to change something from inertia into something in motion, and we do it, and we do it on a consistent basis. And as women, we do it well. And sometimes we don't give enough ourselves enough credit for what we do and put into the world. And so it's reminding women that they have that inner alchemist at play.
Mm. Yeah, like interesting, interesting. Because like this is the thing. It feels like okay. How can I put it? You are. It's like you're setting yourself up for something bigger. I'm not too sure what it is. I'm not too sure what plan you've got like bubbling on in your head. But it's like okay, like yeah. Because when we last talked, yes, I went, yeah, I had to like take some time for myself, sort of get my energy up, and then basically, yeah, big sort of jump forward. It feels like you've done this again, but like this, instead of just like resting, you've actually went, okay, you know what? I need to get down with some fundamentals to really sort of make this like change. I'm not too sure what this change is going to be. And like, yeah, what's going on? Come,
Alchemy at play. What can I tell you?
okay, yeah, alchemist. Yeah, what's going on, alchemist? Yeah, come on. Mm,
So the what's going on is really it's me first and foremost. When we first spoke, we spoke about my personal journey going from not being able to speak in public to becoming an international speaker.
yeah.
My journey to becoming an NLP practitioner,
Mm,
creating my ebook, going through the other things I've done before. And what I wasn't talking about was the work that I do. My work is really about getting women to go through that transformation.
mm,
And it's the work that I do is about saying to women who have stopped looking in the mirror because they are afraid of the woman they see. They are in some kind of silent battle with the woman they see in the mirror and they're not showing up. These are women who, because they've experienced setbacks, because they've experienced something, because they feel, oh my God, I go into this room and I don't feel comfortable. I have imposter syndrome. They've started buying all the stories going on in the back of the head. You know those stories that really we have no business listening to, but
yeah.
we do. What I do is I help women to break up with those stories. And so that's the work that I do. And how I do it is really reconnecting them to the core of their own fire, the core of their own magic. And that is introducing them to their inner girl because we all have that inner girl. And whether your inner girl experienced trauma, stuff in the past, Now it's time to do that work to heal her, make her happy, make her whole, make you whole. Then it's reintegrating the inner girl. And the inner girl is where your innocence is, where that innocence of this is what I want to be in the world, and this is who I want to be, this is how I want to show up.
Mm.
And nothing can stop me before other people's stories and junk comes along and drowns that voice. I reintroduce you to her so
Yeah.
that you are able to go, wait, did I honor that? Did I honor what I told that inner girl? Did I fulfill that promise? Okay, if I didn't, does that still hold true for me? Where can I recapture that? It's actually helping you to reconnect and reintegrate her so that you and her are speaking the same language. And that is an energetic process. We coach around it, we do tangible exercises to actually get you reconnected to that side of you. Then we work with the inner mother. And whether you had a great loving relationship with your mother or you didn't, we work on that relationship. We go back. And especially for us as women, we hold that pain. And this is where we get into talking about things like intergenerational trauma. So, what that means is our it's actually scientifically being uncovered and laid out to be scientific fact that our DNA holds trauma.
Mm.
And so if you're and because coming from this is and again this is very specific for women coming down from women from mother to daughter, and if your mother's had some trauma and she hasn't dealt with it, it's coming down. And so then it's about you dealing with that conversation, and if there's been trauma between you and your mother, or even if they haven't, because mother daughter relationships, there's some fractiousness going from that teenage phase to adulthood.
Yeah, like yeah, as an outside observer
Uh,
of like
and and
something.
then and then you reintegrate and you deal with it, and this is where we go back and heal and do that healing to say, okay, let's kind of look at it. And sometimes it may mean you have to re-imprint. We do some re-imprinting exercises where we re-imprint ourselves from childhood to you being the one who is doing the mothering, where you mother your inner child, you even mother the mother that you had in that process. So you're asking me, what is the alchemy I'm cooking up? That's the alchemy I'm cooking up. It's going deeper into the work that I do and actually being very honest about the work that I do. So there's an element of I work with women to get them whole, and I do it on multiple different levels. And so NLP is part of what I do. Leadership is part of what I do. But helping women to turn on their own light so that they can see themselves, so that they can show up, they can kick ass, they can find their purpose, they can find their passion, they can find their voice, and they can kick ass in the way that they want to, in the way that they're meant to, so that they can actually be impactful.
Mm.
That's the work I do.
I hear
That's the alchemy that's brewing.
Mm, yeah, because like this is the thing. No, that's fantastic, and like yes, like I'm getting a better idea of what you want to possibly be in the world. But like yeah, it's very interesting. Because like one of the things I'd say with regards to sort of like uh, intergenerational like trauma. There is always like we as human beings have a certain amount of energy, which we can give out in a day. Now, when there is like something negative or traumatic which goes on with us, even if we don't actually expel it or say anything there, it is taking up part of your energy each and every day. And it's basically keeps on running in the background.
Yep.
And just like basically, you don't know how it manifests. But yeah, it might be a slight tick here. It might be a slight, snappy word there. But yeah,
And
it,
then you teach it to the future generation, your descendants. I mean, your listeners would know this when they go, yeah, in my family. Anytime you start with in my family, we
mm,
never. That's your trauma conversation talking. That's the intergenerational trauma talking. It's, oh, we you know, we're never lucky in this, or we never have this,
Mm,
or there's, and some of it may sound like light statements, like, oh, we never, black women never swim, or those kind of statements, but there is a source of where that has come from,
mm,
and we then pass it down. So whether you're passing down the good stuff, because as much as we talk about polarities, we talk about the when we talk about, oh yes, it's intergenerational trauma, and that's one of the things that's been going around. People have been really taking that time to inspect that. On the flip side of the trauma is the intergenerational blessings. And this is also something that we work to highlight, because they're gifts from those families, and whether it's just the remembering the gratitude that that person, whether they were good, bad, or indifferent, has
mm,
survived, and their survival meant I'm here. Whether it's, and this is when this is almost specific for looking at the work for individuals who look like you and I from our community. So when we go, yeah, my family is messed up, but then you would have to stop and be grateful for that messed up family, because it meant they were there long enough to create you, and you could be now the one could end up ending the messing up.
mm,
And all things considered, these are the people who survived colonization, slavery, colonization. Some of them survived Biafra War. So these are people who have survived different, real, serious traumas to create us. So as much as we want to talk about the intergenerational trauma, the flip side of that, the polarity, is the blessings as well.
mm. Yeah, I think it's a case of, that sort of trauma, or like basically like some of those roadblocks, which either are subconscious or conscious, which we like we throw up on a daily basis, either personally or not. Uh, I think it's a case of trying to sort of find these people who are going to sort of be those sort of pathfinders, because like we touched on this a bit last time, just like not to be the only person to succeed in this sort of like social media front and stuff like this, but to be like, oh right, yeah, if this was let's go, if this was the 80s, right,
Hmm.
and I went, look, black women don't play tennis. Fast forward into the 90s, it's like going, that is a real game changer right there.
Yeah.
And it took two ladies to be that pathfinder, to have that success and be like, yeah, here we are, and this is what we're talking about. Uh, when it comes to other sort of professions, it's like, I always sort of struggle with sometimes why sometimes there isn't so much of highlight of like, this person's gone to this university, this person's done this person's grown and achieved. It's like, if you look at, say, Chadwick Boseman, he, as an actor, went to Howard University, and before he passed, he was on track to most probably becoming one of the most influential movie stars in Hollywood. It was
Yes.
just like, but like you got people like, say, Will Smith, like I've been listening to his book. I've finished that. I don't know if you've like listened to it or read
Not
it.
yet. Not yet.
Yeah, but it's like, yes, like, okay, there are some things where with his sort of drive, his focus and his ambition, which are like, maybe like if you want to be where Will Smith is, you have to sort of emulate that. But there's going to be certain things which won't come to you maybe as easy. If you're set, like if you're 16, you can like sing, dance, got all that talent to get you those hits and then get you a TV show, which has to be then successful to then get you into Hollywood. Yeah, by all means. But when he was on his sort of, I want to be a movie star drive,
Yeah.
there was a certain level of obsession where it was like, okay, turns around and goes, I wouldn't do that if I was you. And it always like makes me smile when you hear successful people like go, yeah, don't follow the same path as I did. Like, do it a different way. And like, Like, you know what I mean? You don't need to do. I'm like, no, shut up. It's like, look, if you want to be on the mountaintop like you've got to do like you either got to have the same work ethic or work beyond you to be on that mountaintop. And yeah, I understand, but it's like when someone sits on the mountaintop, that's when they all find wisdom and like, yeah, hey, Zen moments. Yeah, you don't need to do it. It's like, yeah, okay.
Well, you know what? I have to say, I agree that you don't have to do it like Will.
Mm-mm.
You don't have to do it like Will, but you have to then choose what is your path going to look like.
Yeah,
And he may be right. You don't have to do it like I did because he's like, look at what I've had to sacrifice along that journey.
yeah,
And so I think with any book, anything out there is you have to question, does this ring true for you? And
yeah.
if it does, then take what's true. The one that doesn't work, dash it to the wind and go and keep moving. So you don't have to do it like Will. I've, when people are like, yes, to have a successful, you must hustle 24/7. I'm like, you can do that
Yes.
and then grow to hate your business and hate life, or you can choose another way. For some people, that hustle thing is all they know and it works for them. For
Mm.
others, I've seen it, I've done it, and after a while, you and burnout are doing a particular dance. And you're like, I'm not trading a day job for a business that I despise.
Mm.
That's not why you do it. So, how can you do it in a way that works for you?
Yeah.
And so that's what I've spent the last 10 months is how does this work for me? Does it feel good? If it
Mhm.
doesn't feel good, why am I doing it? If it feels odd and against my who I am, like the who I am,
Mm.
then I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Like, yes, I think like the horror words for yourself would be Wednesdays at 8. Uh, for the course of that time. Wednesday at 8. No, me one. No, stop it. Wednesday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so you understand that and people listening go, what's wrong with Wednesdays at 8? Wednesdays at 8 are fine. But for me, it became trauma word because I created a show that needed me to be somewhere every day Wednesday at 8 for 3 years and I couldn't do anything else and I'm like, this is no. Let's find another way of creating this that is not feeling so pressurized and so scary. And then I've started doing something different. And I still do the show at Wednesday at 8, but it doesn't go out live Wednesday at 8. So differences happen. And and it's learning that you can evolve from something. You can go, I did it this way, didn't like it, it made me sick, and I rather have something else.
I hear you. I hear you. Because, like, yeah, I saw on your Instagram that you were arranging something, but it unfortunately fell through the other day. It was meant to be an interview. Yeah.
Yes, so I have a series coming out called The Goddess in Chief Conversations, and the ignorial, the first one before I pretend I can put my teeth back in and speak. Uh, uh, we were going to have the first one on Wednesday, the 1st of December, and my guest last minute couldn't make it, and I'm like, it's fine. Let's stop. It's fine. And her well-being and her needs, I put over the goddess in chief conversation. It
Mm.
will happen, but when it's right, we have another one planned for the 15th with another guest, and we're gonna get that first guest to come back at another date. So it's like it's either you say, "Oh my God, this didn't happen the way I wanted, so it's broken. It's this hasn't happened this way. So what we're going to do is we're going to pivot, we're going to adjust, and we're going to move on." Which one sounds like more fun?
Mm. Like the internet dropped out for a moment. Could you repeat what you said just now?
Sure. So what I said was, you could say, "Oh my God, it was supposed to happen on the first. They couldn't make it. Oh my God, it's all gone wrong. Let's not do it. It's not, it's not meant to happen." Or you can say, "You know what? It didn't happen in the first. We're gonna have another. We already have another one scheduled. We're gonna reschedule that one, so it's fine."
Mm.
Which one sounds more fun and pleasurable?
Oh, hey, I'm gonna go with option two. Like, yeah, just like, hey, be able to reschedule. Yeah, no problem. Look, the amount of times people have dropped out of me, it's not even funny anymore. It's like, hey, it's like, yep. It's like, got to drop out. Okay, yeah. There's times where I'm like, I really wish you could have told me this like a day before, or like a couple of hours before. But like, yeah, but it's all cool. But yeah.
Exactly. And so for me, it's I'm learning to really get into my goddess space. Really honoring my the alchemist within and say, okay, this didn't work the way I wanted. So what else? So instead of going, okay, this has totally blown up in my face. I'm not going to do this anymore. Oh my God, it's broken and it's a failure. Is well, the alchemist in me is like, okay, so that didn't work. So if we tweak it a bit more, what can we make from it?
Mm, mm. So, like, this is the thing. So now with this, you're back into the podcast fray. Yeah. So, like, it's a case of like, have you just got like a whole bunch of guests lined up, and you're like, okay, yes, every Wednesday at 8. It's like you've gone back to it. Oh, okay.
So what we're doing, we're now pre-recording the show, so we no longer do them live.
Yep.
And so we're lining up guests for that. What was happening on the 8th, like I said, is what I call my Goddess in Chief conversations, which is separate from Shine Out Loud. And why Goddess in Chief? Because these are women who are working at their goddess self. They are making an impact in the world. They're business owners, entrepreneurs who are creating amazing things with their business that impacts and influence others. So, and also, and again, this is very focused and very specific for women, and want to have those conversations with women who are using money differently, who are talking about wealth, who are talking about Bitcoin, so we're going to be having those different goddess and chief conversations, which is separate from the Shine Out Loud show, because
Mm.
I wanted to have very different conversations going into 2022.
Ah, I think I think you're on a sneaky little mission there to like, yeah, pick up one or two skills. Just like, hey, having this podcast conversation. Hey, like frantically writing down notes. I can see you, Lillian.
I mean, we gotta learn. People gotta learn. That's how Oprah became the Oprah she is today. We absorb knowledge from these other people, but this goddess and chief conversation is for me, yes, is a way to share this knowledge. Is also a way for me to actually highlight that there's certain conversations we're not having, especially as women. There's certain conversations that we've not had. So let's talk about money.
Mm,
I'm going to be talking to women who are firmly on that path of we need to be wealthy. As women, we owe it to ourselves to be wealthy. And hiding from money or holding on to money stories serves nobody.
mm,
And before anybody starts calling and saying it's not all about money, well, it's not all about money, because money is neither good, bad, or indifferent. It's the story you attach to money.
mm,
And I know people who are very given with very little money, and I know people who are incredibly given with a lot of money. And so it's about healing those money stories, because now is the time that we need to have wealthy women in the world.
mm. Yeah, I think this is what people sort of think get lost with because they go, money is evil. No, the love of money is evil if you read your Bible correctly. And like, this is the whole thing. Like, people forget money is just an amplifier of who that person is. If they be a bad person, it will amplify the bad. If there would be a good person, it'll amplify the good. So you've got that amplifier, but it also is one of the most effective workers and greatest tools you can always have. So with this sort of utility, this utility belt, which money can give you, it just opens up a whole realm of options, which I think
Exactly.
people just don't actually pick up on or want to pick up on because of that ignorance what goes in there.
Exactly. So you've touched on that biblical concept that the the money is a root of all evil. But I think, I'm not sure of the verse, but if they go back and read it, it's like you said, it's for the love of money.
Mm,
That when you would, for that love of money, you will do something immoral. For that love of money, you will kill another person. For that
yeah.
love of money, money itself is neither good or bad. And so starting to talk to more women who
Mm,
are who help other women heal that money story, heal that fraction that they have and friction they have in their relationship with money, so that they can start making and earning wealth. One of the amazing books I read this year was We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rogers, and talking about why we as women, especially women of color, need to be millionaires. Whether you want to be a millionaire or not, that's neither here or there. It's not, the goal is not to just have £1 million or dollars in your account. It's, we need to have a good chunk of money in our accounts. We need to be cash rich. We need to have assets. We need to be able to have those things, because not because of what it can buy us, it's because of what we can do with it. And when
mm,
you said talking about being an amplifier, it showcases who you are. If you're a naturally given person, with that money coming in, you can be more of that naturally given person. If you're an ass in real life, money just shows your assness. So, but with us having money as women, and that's the reason I started wanting to start with the Goddess and Chief conversation, start at money, is because you can now see having money as a woman in the community changes things. You have women who can then say, I want to provide for my loved ones, or I want to provide for kids who need the support. I want to create, where you will take that money and then transform it. This goes back to the alchemist. You
mm,
can take that money and then you can transform it. Another thing that has become very important to me in the last 10 months, even beyond before the last 10 months, but not been my major focus, is talking about generational wealth and why we need to have generational wealth, the importance for generational wealth. And so when we now start planting those seeds about how do we not just earn money, save money, grow, make sure that we're doing things to grow money, so that our descendants can have that money, can have, not just to have the money, but to have the advantages that money, that grown money, will bring for them.
mm. Yeah, because like this is the thing. Yeah, you bring up generational wealth, and like this is the thing. The world is changing, ever changing, and like
Mm.
look, there is a small country out there to the east which has 1.3 billion people, which are moving on up. Jobs are shifting around the world, and basically, look, anyone who's like a conventional 9 to 5, you can survive and build on a conventional 9 to 5, but you've got to kind of look at where the new sort of skill sets are. It's no longer in like factories and like sort of manufacturing. It's in development and like consultancy. It's in like law. It's in that sort of realm of things. And basically having that sort of skill set to go right to do that, or if that's not for you, because that's not always the way, be able to like go, okay, let me start businesses here, there, everywhere, to sort of like go, right, you don't need to be a multi-billionaire to have a damn decent life. You don't have to be a multi-billionaire to have generational wealth. Be able to sort of give that sort of tools, so like, yes, if everything shut down again in the future, that yes, can go, okay, we can eke out a living. We can like, or we don't need to eke out a living. We are fine. Like we can weather this storm, and then yeah, once that storm passes, boom, kick everything into full gear. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because with generational wealth comes generational influence. And that is the whole key. If you don't have that generational influence, all you'll find is laws, status quo will stay the same again and again and again. And people in certain realms of power, certain rooms, if you don't actually have that influence, look, we both could, like, if it was myself, you, Oprah, and Jeff Bezos, in a room together. Now, we can talk all we like, say everything we can say, but there's only two people in that room which will be like going, I've got the clout to make it happen. And then, you know, hey, without that, not unless if my podcast all of a sudden like grows like to like a epic membership level, yeah, I don't have that. And yeah, it's like, hey, one day, yeah, we'll both have that. But right now, no, we don't have that. And without sort of generational wealth, without generational influence, without generational clout, we'll be in a sorry state of affairs.
Exactly. And so the reason why, we want to start thinking about how are we investing our time? Are we putting our time into things that will grow? And so when people think, oh, when people are talking about generational wealth or being wealthy, it's
Mm,
for the yeah, there's you want to have the nice stuff. All want that, but it's also what else are we doing? I mean, look at right now. You spoke about clout, generational clout. The Mr. and Mrs. Carter, aka Beyonce and Jay-Z. Who
yeah.
would have thought in our lifetime we'll see a black couple, the face of Tiffany?
Hey.
If they did not have that clout, if they did not have that wealth.
Mm. Look, and look, this is the thing. This is the thing. You could strip away like Jay-Z and Beyonce's wealth out of the picture, but they have that influence. And with that
Yes.
influence, they are they get
So put it this
influence.
way, let's we can talk about this to the cows come home,
Mm,
because the clout is one thing, but also there are so many other stars who have come before them who we don't hear from, because now these people, Jay-Z and Beyonce, can choose not to work for the rest of their life and they're fine.
yeah.
Blue Ivy and the twins will be fine.
Yep.
Why? Because mommy and daddy they've started investing. They've invested. I remember, way back when Beyonce took shares in a particular, she had to do a concert for somebody and she decided to take shares and that company blew up, and she did she,
Yeah.
so it's about, we have to start doing the work to educate ourselves on how do we invest money, how do we grow money, how do we take advantage of the new ways of making money. And this is the conversation that I'm going to be having in the Goddess in Chief conversations.
Mm. Uh, Important conversations which need to be had. And I think it's a case of like, yes, some out of the box thinking which needs to be done, because like the whole thing is I don't like conventional methods and means in this world today. I think as each 5 years go by, what is conventional is changing so rapidly, and where the sort of status quo sits, I I the next decade is like a mystery. I'm like, change is happening, but I don't know where that change is gonna like lead us at this
Mm,
present time. It's it's exciting. Exciting times are ahead for us all.
it is. It is exciting. And we just have to, when every time I've heard somebody, yeah, I can't wait for normal. And I'm like, we are never going to see normal again in that way. And we then have to go back and start asking questions. That normal, was that actually good for us?
Mm. No, put it this way. Look, last year was like everyone runs around quite frantically, just doing their 9 to 5, getting their life, and like, yeah, doing all of that, going, 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 going. 2020 hit and was like, yeah, the whole world stopped.
Mother Nature put us in
Yeah,
timeout.
yeah. And basically everyone went, oh, I can actually breathe now. And when those breaths of fresh air hit people's brains and stuff like this, it's like, oh, wait a second. I don't want to be doing this. It's like, wait a second. I don't want to be doing that. Oh, wait a second. I could be doing this. Wait a second. Life is too short. Wait a second. The number of wait a seconds what went down last year and now sort of being enacted, it
Yep.
is crazy. They called it the Great Resignation. I knew this was gonna happen. I was like, yeah, look, change is afoot. I don't know how it's gonna manifest, but yeah, people are like, no, move, do this, do that, do this. And some people may have gone back to their sort of old jobs. And I can just simply say this: if you're an employer and if you're not treating these people like, yeah, like fine wine or some like bar of gold, they are gone. Watch out because yes, uh, the change is happening. The
Yes.
waiting seconds have come home to roost. You know what I mean? Like with some of the ladies you've spoken to, how many like have you had that be a large experience with that? There's been a
Oh
number.
yeah. There's a large number of women who went into where the space I went to, where it's like, no, I don't. This doesn't work.
Mm,
This no longer works. This is not enough. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, no, I don't want this anymore. And it's that space of, if I don't want this anymore, what else can I have?
mm-hmm.
And being shown that the options here are greater than the
Option.
this.
Yes.
And so it's that is that space. And a lot of people have gone through it. And, and most of the time people are thinking, oh yeah, this is about breaking up with other people. And sometimes I say, no, actually it's actually you breaking up with yourself.
Mm,
You decide that all of that nonsense that you've been playing out in your head, you're like, it's okay. I don't want it anymore.
yeah. I think
It
it.
was fine for 2018 me,
Yeah.
but 2020 me,
Mm. It was an opportunity for a lot of people to put something down in order to pick something else up, I would say.
absolutely. And you can't pick up new things. You can't make space for newness if you're full of the old stuff. If you're still carrying the pain from whatever you've experienced, where you're still carrying the grief from, oh, I had this failure, and so this, and then has made it your defining um, chapter about your life. You
Mm,
can't pick up anything new if you're still holding on to all of those things. And I think 2020 gave us that space to go, to really go, let me inspect what I'm holding, and
mm.
does it work for me? And so yeah.
Yeah. No, no, no. Like, yeah. I feel that. I feel that. And like, you know what I mean? Yes. Much growth. Much growth for yourself and hopefully a little bit of growth for myself along the way. But yes, now one of the things, yeah, no, one of the things I'm gonna have to you no no. Okay, you. Okay, people. Look, this is the thing. Before I go into the sort of social media, but like, yeah, dealer, you dealer of anime, you like, yeah. Look, got me hooked on, yeah, freaking Seven Deadly Sins. Like watching it like some crack fiend. Like this, I go, okay, I'm a millionist. What next? I'm just like going, yeah, okay, right. There's like, yeah, when's the next episode's coming out? Look, yeah, 2020 when I had time, is like going, okay, soon as I was like, yeah, like I message you, that's like, hey, Seven Deadly Sins has been
Mhm.
out. Have you watched them all yet? And you're like, no, he's like, no, I haven't watched them all yet. I just sit there going, I've watched them in a day. I've got a problem. No. And now they've taken it away. It's no longer there.
So I watched the. Did you watch the last season? The one where they came back from purgatory and, oh, I'm gonna be quiet then.
Of course I watched them.
Okay.
Of course I watched them. It's like, yeah, look, just like, yeah, okay, right. Like, lady come in, yeah, you want some food? It's like, no, I'm okay. You know, this, you have this, It's like, you're like, hey, like, hey, it's been 2 days now. You need to have a shower. It's like
Yeah,
that.
You're like, Meliodas is coming. Meliodas is
It's like,
coming.
yeah, yeah. Ah, so yeah, like, yeah, so I've enjoyed the whole whole TV show series. I can't like if I go into any detail. Yeah, it's
Yeah, we can't go into too much detail because some part of the show is rather problematic, but then also there's some part of the y- you know in this recent season, you know what made me cry?
oh yeah,
You probably know what would have made me cry.
but like big like a certain chap like disappearing from the show.
Yeah, into dust.
Yeah, because like yeah, you know what I mean. Because yeah, he like yes, he is the one. High noon. Yeah, it's like
Going past high noon and giving
yeah,
his all and
yeah. Look, yeah, look. It's all.
Escanaut.
It's like oh, it's like yeah. It's like yeah. It's like
You're like, I'm not crying. I'm not. Just
oh,
there's onions in the living room. Onions.
why is it so dusty in here? It's like, why is it so dusty?
Mhm.
Look, between that and Tiger King, I'm like, okay, yeah. It's like,
So at least I didn't go down the Tiger King road. I didn't go down Tiger King road, but I will have you go back to anime. The biggest disappointment for me this year in terms of anime was I was so excited when they announced Cowboy Bebop.
oh, you know what? Like, this is the thing. Like, I was like, okay, the live action. I was going to watch the live action and then watch the anime version. But like, this is the thing. I have not had the time. Look, I've been on it for most of the year. I was going to watch it during Christmas, but I've heard bad things. I've heard bad things about the live action. I watched the first episode. No, I watched the first two, and I was like, hmm,
See my face? See my face?
hmm. Oh, yeah. Like, okay. So the live action didn't hit for you. Oh, okay. The anime, like, did that? Okay, I'll watch the anime. It's like, because look, because I watched the first episode, I was like, hmm, okay, right.
Yeah, please don't do that to yourself.
And
I,
then
I I know I know people put some effort into creating it, and we thank you for your effort. Thank you. It's C for tries, but no, no, thank you.
not like this is a thing that oh, another thing which I like. It's a bit old school, but yeah, and you got it's kind of anime, but not anime. Like
What's that?
Avatar, the Last Airbender, the animation,
Which one? Are you talking about the Legend of Aang, or are you talking about the Legend of Korra?
both. They're both great. It's like
I I love the Legend of Aang. Korra is great, but there's mm,
what do you have against the Legend of Korra? Come on now.
there were just so many plot holes and things just didn't make sense, and I'm like, I really, when you really want to like it, and you're like, I really, and that was me with Cowboy Bebop. I really wanted to like it. And I was like, okay, so we're half an hour in, and I can't do this to my brain anymore. So thank you very much.
Yeah, like this is the thing. Yeah. Like honestly, okay, 2020 when I had time to do like what do the podcast and like yeah, like okay, there's lots of downtime. I can watch this, I can watch that. Yeah, no. When you're doing back on the 9 to 5 and yeah, doing the podcast as well, and yeah, and basically look, trying to get stuff out for the podcast as well. It's like okay, no, look,
I understand.
yeah,
I understand.
Monday, Thursday, and Friday podcast days, and like yeah,
Listen, you have my respect. You know there's nothing I admire more than somebody dedicated to their podcast. And Shine Out Loud is coming back in the new year. But
hey,
so see how I threw that in? Uh,
it's like, that's plugging. What's
so but
back in the new year?
Shine Out Loud show, which is my podcast and which you still haven't come on, but we'll make that happen.
it's not been me. I've been around. Like I've been in
Yeah.
contact
So
less.
we'll make that happen. But there is, to be said, 200 shows in the space of a year. That is incredible. That is incredible. So take my hat off to you.
Ah, thank you very much, my lady. Thank you very much. No, it's just like this is the thing. Like, okay, honestly, if I had more bandwidth, yeah. If I had more time, yeah, I'll be doing this 3 times a week. Yeah, I'll just like, yes, here we go, here we go, here we go. I'm also thinking of maybe try to do the live gauntlet like every sort of like once every 2 weeks or so like that.
Okay.
But I'm not too sure. Like this is like the whole sort of thing. Doing it live, we talked about this, and you're like, oh yes, you got to really lead someone when you do it live because, like, yes, they might be la 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 any other time. It's like we're live. It's like, yeah. So tell me about this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, it was great. Yeah, yeah, it's fantastic.
So and that's where your job as a podcast host would be then to facilitate not just a call, but to facilitate them and help guide them to give you the answers. And that's why you do the homework beforehand, so that you find out about the person, so that you have enough fodder to go, okay, yes, so I read in your social media that you said this and this and this, let's talk about this. And
Mm-hmm.
you help guide them, because for some people the idea of going live is like, and
Yeah.
your job is to help them mentally exhale so that they can have that conversation. So that that is a powerful thing to do, and it takes it takes understanding how to facilitate that conversation to make that happen.
Oh yeah, talking about conversations. Oh look, check this out. Okay, you see that? Okay, look, Android, iPhone. Yeah, like my friend of mine, Leao, she was like, "Hey, have my phone." I was like, I got a new phone. You can have this one." I was like, okay, okay. It's like, yeah, yeah. Thank you for sending me that. Oh, good God, why am I the Clubhouse invitation? That is much appreciated. But like, you know what? Clubhouse, I've got to say, like, I haven't had the time to do anything major with it, but it is sometimes a bit of a zoo. I've like, I'm sorry, but it is. Like, have you
Did
seen?
you just say Clubhouse is a bit of a zoo?
Yeah, Clubhouse is a bit of a zoo. You like,
Oh
look,
boy.
yeah, am I wrong though? Like you, some rooms are just like, yeah, okay. Can I speak? Yeah, and if you say the wrong, if you say whatever quote unquote the wrong thing is, I fundamentally disagree with that. It's just,
Uh, Um, I think for me, a lot of people have had some very interesting experiences with Clubhouse.
yeah.
I gave myself a Clubhouse break, so I haven't been really active. I gave myself a break and changed my phone and all of that. But that's aside. What
Mm.
I did was I curated my rooms, and so some of those rooms where you have 9 million moderators moderating one room, and people, it just feels like there's like a gazillion people talking at each other and not talking to each other. I'm like, I'm out. Or those rooms where it's just from the title, it's problematic. Black women are this and that, and I'm like, hide, hide, hide. Oh, hide, hide, hide. So I curate it in such a way that I don't see those rooms. I don't go into those rooms. And rather than complain about, oh, this all this problematic conversations, I don't see the problematic conversation. So in my world, it's like, Clubhouse is great. People are like, did you know that there were people were arguing and kicking people out of the rooms? I'm like, not in the rooms I'm in. So
Yes, you see, yeah, yeah, proves my very point. It's a zoo. It's a mad zoo. It's just like, okay. It's just, oh, hey.
so for me, it's about the curation. I've made it into a space, and that goes back to any social media. You get to decide what you want to see.
Mm.
And you don't have to participate in the zoo-ness. If you don't want to be part of the zoo, don't participate.
Oh no, like I have not participated. I've just like gone into a room. Well, just like, okay. leave quietly. Click. Just like back up. Just like, yep.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah. Back away slowly.
Yeah. It's like, okay, right. But that's been an interesting revelation. So I have to ask now, with regards to promotion of your podcast, how are you doing that now? Because like, hey, there's like some social medias are pay to play these days, and like, yeah, how are you getting the word out about them?
Well, I send out emails. I use Insta. I use LinkedIn. I haven't played a lot in the metaverse yet. I'm learning. I'm going to learn about Meta, so we'll see what happens there. I will put it on Facebook. I'm still and also telling people about it directly.
Mm,
So that's how I share. Um, I'm not saying I've cracked it because I I won't lie. I haven't fully cracked it. It's something I'm learning, but what I'm still contending with is and doing is like as long as my content is good,
mhm,
work on the content, keep working on the content, working on myself to be able to deliver the right content, and then share. The good thing is because the show is on a platform, I have my RSS feed, and I am on literally on everywhere you can get your podcast. You can find me on app from Amazon to Spotify, and the platform I use helps with the syndication, so I'm not having to syndicate it myself. So people can find it a lot easier. I make it easier to find them on different directories. I keep putting and keep plugging so that people can find it. People are like, oh, I don't listen to stuff on my phone. I listen to it on my AI speakers at home. Oh yeah, you can find me on Amazon. I'm on there. You can listen to me on Audible. I'm on Audible too. I'm on Spotify. So you want to make sure that you first of all your RSS feed is together and your platform that you're using allows for syndication so that it's one and done, because you don't want to go and start doing it all over the place. That's just long. So that's the first thing. And when you're looking at that, is making sure that's done for you. You'll make sure you have the right tags in your RSS feed to make sure it's pointing in the right direction. You also want to utilize your guests that are coming on and say, hey, you know what? It was great having you on. Share this within your own network. That's another way. Um, and I think just keep sharing and sharing it and sharing it. That's what I say to people. And but start with the content. Yes, you people want 50 million downloads in the first week. Start with the content. If the content is good, people will come back. If the content is good, people will listen and tell your friends. You want to make sure you have good mics. You want to make sure if you're doing video as well, you want to make sure that your visuals are clean and good so that people are can enjoy without being visually distracted. You want to make sure that you have that your foundation right before you move on to the next, before you worry about the downloads. You may have only 20 people listen to your show, but because your show was impactful, your show touched somebody, it helped change somebody's life. Your topic could be something as serious as talking about suicide, or talking about knitting and helping a grandmother reconnect with her granddaughter over them learning how to knit. It may not have the numbers, but if are you making something that people are enjoying, or are you just doing it to be part of the numbers?
uh, absolutely, absolutely, fantastic. Now, I have to ask, right? Because hey, it's coming to that time again where, like, hey, we have to say goodbye. But mm, now, what would you say? What moment could you say over the last sort of 10 months has provided you with that true moment of gratitude?
Oh, in the last 10 months, true moment of gratitude.
Mm.
There are plenty. Getting hugs from my nephews, my baby nephews, just being able to spend time with them again and not feel anxious and not feel worried, and just being able to really spend and hold them and have them quiz you about life and ask you questions, and you're like, and that feels normal. That is something. Um, my partner and I are different countries, and being able to see them again, and it was like, okay, life, this feels good. And after being apart for so long, and it's like, that feels good. Being able to just that. And then I'll say in the last 10 months, moment of amazing gratitude was moving to my new place. And it's like, yeah, okay, this is good. This is amazing. And so, but also I have just gratitude to say I can look around my family and say, we may have moments we fall out and all of that, but we're all still together. We're all still here, and be really grateful for that, because we know so many people whose families have been decimated by COVID and all the variants. And we may joke about the names of the variants, but we know it's had a real impact on the life that we're living. And so for me, being that is my gratitude, is just being able to say I can still find space for normal. In essence, I don't want to use the word normal, but I can still find spaces to laugh. I can still find joy, and it may not be very great over great things. It could be, okay, I get to see some friends and we have dinner together, and those kind of things. And being surrounded in the last 10 months, being surrounded by some incredible women, because at the start of the lockdown created a circle, a space for these amazing women to come together, and we held a virtual table and a virtual space for each other, over 10 months. And we met this year. We started at the height, at the first part of lockdown, I think lockdown two. And we met in at the start of August this year.
Mm.
And it was the most incredible thing to meet some of them I've known a long time, some of them I hadn't known, and to for us to be able to be in person, and to realize how in the last 10 months these women have become so fundamentally important to my well-being, to adding to my joy. Being, these are women I go to be held, be seen. These are the same women who are like, get up, go get it done. These are the same women who are ready to offer a soothing word, a kind word. So there was that. For me, I'm very grateful for that space we cultivated, because that was something so incredibly powerful, to have a space where I could go to and have this space where I'm seen totally by these amazing people.
Oh,
So that's what I'm grateful as well for the last 10 months.
oh, wonderful, wonderful, loving it. Brilliant. Ah, brilliant. Now, if oh, I don't know. It's like Jesus. No. Leah, can you tell the lovely people how they can find you out there on these interwebs?
On the interwebs, you can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn under my name. You can find me on my website, www.lillianogbogoh.com. It's still being refreshed, and so that's coming soon. Coming back to life because it's in maintenance mode. Um, you can find me, where else can you find me? You can find me on the Shine Out Loud show, which is the podcast. Yeah, and on the interwebs, in terms of Instagram, you can find me on Shine Out Loud show. You can find me.
Oh, you frozen.
Uh,
You're frozen. You're gonna have to repeat that last bit again.
oh, I said you can also find me on the Zoo, like you mentioned, Clubhouse.
Ah.
Uh, and you can find me under my name, so that's Lillian Obogo, and my Lillian is Lillian. My last name is Ogbogoh. So you can find me, look for me on LinkedIn, and look for me on Instagram. Facebook I don't use so much, but yeah.
Okay, excellent. I'll put all this information in the show notes. So yes, please contact Lillian. Get on board, sign up, follow, do all the important things you need to do on the whole socials and everything like this. Well, yeah, have a nice chat over a Zoom call with a nice cup of tea. Little pinky up. Tasty. Lillian, once again, it has been a joy, a pleasure, an honor to have you on today. Thank you.
Thank you. You're
Uh,
welcome.
oh, oh, and I'd like to say thank you to you, my friends, my life warriors, for sticking with us so far up until this point, going from Zen, anime, that zoo of Clubhouse, and more. Please stay safe, stay well, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic. Be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Have a great day, guys. Yes.
Bye.
Hey, and we are